All right, we are live. Hello, how is everyone tonight? Hope everyone's doing well. The man needs no introduction. Eric Freeman, how are you? How you doing, sir?
Okay. Thank you. We're all a little late because it's my fault again, but whatever.
Not too late. Not super late. It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. So it's been a little while since we've hung out, and I thought, hey man, let's play catch up here. Let's see, just kind of shoot the bull for a little bit. I know we got a couple of convention appearances coming up. We'll talk about those. Maybe talk about some good ways to prepare yourself for the convention. Just kind of shoot the bull. There's a few things I wanted to ask you that I've never gotten around to asking you before.
Good. So, I love it. Well, you asked the good stuff, so great. That's fine. Well, it's fine. How much more can we dig into the well of Caldwell?
We're going beyond Caldwell.
We're going deep.
We're going beyond Caldwell. That's for sure. Let me give some shout outs here to everybody who's with us tonight. Jose Sanchez, what's up? Jilly, hello. Nick W. Apollo Balboa. Lord Brian, what's up? How are you doing? Big Bear, Mole Man, James G. There's Olivia. Olivia, I broke down and I actually started eating some of the chips that you sent for me and Jeremy. I couldn't help myself. I broke down. I was hungry. I grabbed the bag. I started eating them. They're very good. So thank you. Pink salt flavored potato chips. They're very good.
So, yeah. Pink salt.
Right on.
Yeah.
We got JS here. We got my buddy Mike from the UK. We've got Keith, Captain Halloween. Yeah, we got a nice full house tonight. Hey, what's up, Alan? You got a full house tonight. So the very first question I want to ask you, it's a video submission from a big fan of yours, and he's got a very, very in-depth question that he wants to ask you. Hold on, here he is.
Hello, Eric Freeman. Pizza or tacos?
Jeremy wants to know, pizza or tacos?
Pizza. Well, because I kind of grew up on it. Orange juice and pizza, and they weren't really good pizzas. There was this brand, Tombstone pizzas, right? Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Tombstone pizzas and orange juice, frozen concentrated orange juice, because, who has money when they're a kid?
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Jeremy's actually on a big taco kick here lately. We've gone to Taco Bell. We went tonight. We went yesterday for lunch.
Wow.
And we went like a couple of days ago. So, I mean, he's running me back and forth to Taco Bell constantly.
Yeah, it's kind of a new thing, right? I mean, it's like you've got to wear out that fad a little bit.
it's not wearing out for Jeremy though. He loves that stuff. So I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah, well, he's gonna wear out that toilet.
Now that's the darn truth right there. That's the darn truth right there.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Flames.
So what have you been up to, man? It's been a little while since we've done one of these. How's everything going with you?
Well, well, I'm boring, but short of that, God, I totaled my car. I've got a new used car to get me around. And of course that has a multitude of problems. So of course I've been under the hood on that thing for a month. So I don't know, maybe I'm just some cheapskate. I should have just looked at a newer car, but maybe someday. But yeah, it's a Toyota. I have a Toyota RAV. Cool car. Good. I mean, it's actually an upgrade. Now I don't want my old one back. I actually had my old one hauled up to the valley where they work on Hondas, but I'm not sure I want it back. so anyhow, that's silly. It's what I've been doing. Just waiting for kind of this COVID crap to clear. California, it's kind of, we're holding on to our old ways, and masks everywhere. You can't do this, can't do that. Enter at your own risk, whatever. So
yeah.
It's kind of still putting a damper on our lives. And short of that, just, I got myself involved in a number of little things. But I am just staying busy and kind of getting ready. I'll have to get ready for this season coming up and buy some more little paraphernalia for the site. But other than that,
you mean like
okay.
You mean like this bad boy?
yeah. Those damn things take too much room. They just take up too much room. Holding off on that. It's like, I don't want to, it's like my living space will be devoured by cans. so I got to figure out a way. Maybe I should rent a storage locker. But yeah.
I actually just posted Eric's website in the description, I'm sorry, not in the description, but in the chat. So go check out Eric's website. The holidays will be here before you know it. So get your signed and personalized Eric Freeman paraphernalia. Good for the whole family. Nothing says I love you like garbage can.
Yeah.
Eric Freeman garbage can. There you go.
Just thank you. I didn't want. I gotta still get those cans. But that's a big thing. The can thing and the 8x10 thing, which don't take any space at all. I like that. But thank you for that. I didn't. It is what it is. It's freaky. Strange little world I have.
Yeah, listen, there's owning this. I mean, this is a one of a kind collectible. This is a one of a kind collectible. Exactly. Yeah. And you were telling me not long ago, you were walking down the street and you saw people wearing your shirt and you were like, I'm famous.
Yeah. Some tourists in Santa Monica. And so, that happened to me a couple times, but my ex had seen. I don't think she really thought anything of what I did because she was actually accomplished, a musician. But she had seen some people, a whole family wearing my shirt, and so she started thinking twice, like, "Hey, why'd I leave him?" No, I don't know. She just kind of came back and said, "Wow, I didn't think it was much, but I guess it's more than I thought it was." So it's kind of funny. But no, that was kind of nice to hear. Then hear about the people from I don't know where, a whole family wearing my shirt. So, well, not my shirt. They're absconded with my image for some somebody else making money. So that's good.
Yeah. But one thing that I do envy you is you're talking about, you work on your own car, that kind of thing. I'm not mechanically inclined at all. My stepdad was a big mechanic growing up, and I really wish I would have kind of paid attention to what he was doing. Because I remember one time he was like, "Come here. A man's got to know how to change his oil. Whether you know anything else about a car, a man's got to know how to change his oil." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Show me. Yeah, okay, the dipstick. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, we'll see ya." Couldn't care less. But now, now I'm like, oh, the engine sounds funny. Let me take it to the shop. Here's $300 bill. You know what I mean? Oh my God. So, yeah.
Well, I don't think you need much, it's funny. You lift the hood on a car these days and it's on like big plastic shelf. And underneath there is a motor. You never know it. But yeah, I don't know. It's nice to know some rudimentary stuff. We talked the other day, I think advice, if I could give it, get a good scanner to plug in under. It's like down by your feet. It's just under the dash. But if you have something wrong and an engine light comes up, it might be nice to have like a good $30 or $40 scanner to plug in to find out what's wrong. It'll tell you. And then at least you'll have the ammunition to not really get taken to the cleaners when you do go in. For, if if it's an oxy sensor or something, then it can't be that expensive. Rather than them tell you, well, Bill, it's pretty rough under there.
it's the rotary dirter spec. It's a $400 part.
Yeah. It's that Dinkler valve. It's that Dinkler valve. So that'd be nice to have a scanner, plug it in like you plug in an appliance, and it'll tell you the code and what it is, and that's just a big relief. And I mean, my God, cars are so expensive in parts, and I mean, it's gotten I don't have to tell anybody listening, it's nuts. And I was thinking of all the things I did on this car that I got for very little money, thinking if I would have subbed that out, I would have more money in this thing than I could have went and bought it. Really nice shaped one, but so it's a trade-off. I saved a ton of money by doing it myself, but and I had that scanner to help me figure it out, because these modern cars are not easy. So
that's something my stepdad would say. Like, he's like, cars aren't cars anymore; they're computers. So, Mr. Boone says, Eric, my friends brought you up at my campsite this weekend. You've become a part of our Christmas. How cool is that?
I'm reading the rest of it. It's similarly satirical to my friends in my short films. Good. So your friends in your short films are lousy too. No, that's cool. I did what I did, and it's accepted in half the world, so I'll take it.
But there's
thank you. That was very kind. That's very kind.
There's lots of love for you in the chat. Alex's Menorah says, I love Eric.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
So,
one of the first people, I went onto your site that was like your site, Pizzelle, at YouTube, and it said Eric's coming 24 hours. But I think it was Jose. It was Jose put something in there. And so he was like waiting early on. So I just wanted to shout out, because I was like, I've got a fan. I got to be there.
Yeah, there you go. Jose is in the chat. So shout out to Jose in the chat from Eric. Eric's keeping an eye on you, Jose. You better watch out.
I had that fan. I was like, oh, fine. I thought I'd be all alone, but thanks, Jose.
So do you remember a movie that really scared you when you were growing up?
God, yeah. Well, of course, there was that Rosemary's Baby thing, because I was so young. I don't know how they played it on network back then, but I think they cut a lot out. But that was kind of scary, I thought. And there's probably a multitude of others that I just, for some reason, it'll come to me in just a minute or two. But it's a good question. And I'm sorry, I just can't outright answer. There was I just remember certain scenes from certain movies that kind of freaked me out. When you're young, you don't know it's not reality, and it can be all, I didn't necessarily have the background your gang does, but which would freak you out. For example, I just kind of looked at Daybreakers again, the Ethan Hawke, Willem Dafoe. And that, if I would have seen that when I was a kid, I would have probably been pretty freaked out, with all the blood and the, eating, they're drinking the blood of the humans that are left. They're running out of blood. That was fun to revisit that, because I love Willem Dafoe and Ethan Hawke is good. And it'll come to me, but yeah, there was a number of things back in the day, back when I was growing up. Might be a bit of time before your people there, but we just had so little. We had just 3 networks, three networks, I think, maybe 3, and then ended up being 4. but it wasn't a lot of selection. I didn't really go to the movies. I tried to go to the movies. There was the Fred Flintstone movie when I was 7, but they wouldn't let me go. So why would I bring that up? I don't know. I wasn't even 7. I was like 5, and Fred Flintstone's movie came out, but I wasn't old enough for the gang to go. It was somebody's birthday party, but I didn't go to movies. So I only saw stuff on the TV and rehashed, 10 years later, they'll show it, at 8 o'clock at night, like Ben-Hur or whatever. But it was usually scenes from movies that would freak me out. And they were usually probably fairly benign movies. So not a good question for me. But overall, it depends on the director is going to be one setting up the scene to make it as scary as possible. So
right. Here's a really great comment from Sinister Antics over on Twitch. She says, Piz, let Eric know that after he gave an exercise speech that has really lingered in my mind. So I've finally gotten off my lazy ass and I've gotten myself into a steady exercising routine for 3 months.
Wow. Sinister. How cool. No, good. Somebody said to me, Eric, God, I'm sure glad I have I work out. If I didn't, I'd be a drug addict. And I said, we all got to have something. And there's a lot to that. I think you could make really, replica masks, or you could do this or that. I think you need to have a good hobby you love, or something you love, or whatever it is, to keep your mind occupied and keep you stable. So that's a good thing. And it doesn't take a lot. You can put out a ton of energy in a short amount of time and see a lot of results. So you don't have to dwell for hours on it. You can just. So thank you for let me know that, because that it makes me feel better too. I don't like to preach that. I said I wouldn't ever do it again on your show to myself, but it's just something
But you inspired him, and he's gotten off his butt, and he's been working out for 3 months. There you go. You reached somebody.
Yeah. So that's good. Always a good thing.
Yeah.
I guess it's just back off on the calories. And if you can kind of keep equilibrium between expenditure and intake, that's really what it is. Expenditure versus intake. And
so if you could, would that be if there's anybody else in the chat who's interested, if you could only give them one piece of advice, one piece of health and fitness advice to somebody, just one piece, what would it be?
Well, if it's just one piece, I would have liked to say you don't need the gym at all. Just make sure your expenditure equals your intake and you'll stay where you should stay. But if it were one piece of advice, active muscle burns calories 24 hours a day. And given that tidbit of advice that it's the truth, you can't get that any other way. Any type of resistance exercise will burn calories 24 hours a day. Active muscle, you'll consume calories while you're sleeping. So that's always a good way to keep it in check. So that would be it. The advice would be that the active muscle burns calories 24 hours a day.
There you go.
Walking, you name it. It could be sex if you want it to be. Whatever.
As long as you're active, you know what I mean? There you go.
Yeah, no, and it could be I take a nightly walk with my lady or my friend and you're breathing air and getting some sunlight in your eyes, and that's good. So it doesn't have to be anything. It has to be something you enjoy. Not something that, if you would consider weights and gym stuff drudgery and hell, then stay away from it. I would think it would be hell for anybody getting started, and then the impetus in that world would be results. But it's probably like starting to play guitar. Your fingers hurt, your fingers hurt, your fingers hurt. And my God, my fingers hurt. And, and then like, wow, I can play a chord, and then off you go. So,
well, speaking of guitars, you working on any new guitars lately?
I worked on 2 guitars today because a friend of mine out here had to come out here for a funeral. He's like an hour and a half out, but he brought me 2 really expensive guitars. Well, 3 actually. I fixed one right in the spot for him, an American Strat, but the other one was just as even more expensive. 62 reissue, an American 62 RI, they call it, and then a Japanese one, the ones I like. He brought me 3 guitars. I fixed one, but I was struggling. I mean, that's why I was almost late for this. Time flew by. I was trying to fix something that sometimes it takes days. You can't adjust a neck or something without it. You got to let it rest and come back on it. Sometimes things can't be fixed in minutes. You got to tinker. Sometimes it's like an old 32 Ford or something. You gotta play it cool, and a little adjustment here and there, and see where it takes you. You know.
Let me ask you this: if money were no object, whose guitar would you like to own?
Oh, probably Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar, or Clapton's guitar. That'd be worth more if we're thinking money. But no, I'd be fine. You could give me one of Ted Nugent's Gibsons, and I'd be super thrilled. But so
Stevie Ray and Eric Clapton are 2 of your favorites.
Yeah, because these guys could, whether you like their music or not. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan in particular could sing, and he was so massively talented and passionate about when, he'd be just sweating buckets and singing and playing, and that's not easy. I mean, and he, at his level, it's few can do it. And but there's something about being able to be he could do it all. And Clapton played the guitar and sang too, but he was known as a guitarist, and Clapton was, and Stevie Ray was an entertainer in a sense that he was out there, front man, singer, player. But
there's a
Clapton
great video.
was considered God back then. Anyhow, that was unbelievable days back then for those guys. So
there's a
that
great
would be it. Yeah.
There's a great video on YouTube of Eric Clapton. Fender brought him a replica of his classic Brownie guitar, is what it was called, his Strat.
Yeah. And
he plugged it in, and the way he played it was just like he wasn't even thinking about it. He was just so effortlessly, and he was just shredding. You know what I mean? Like he was having a conversation with somebody, and just, it just sounded incredible. It just sounded unbelievably good.
Yeah.
So really talented guy.
Autopilot.
Exactly. Autopilot. Yeah. I guess you've got to kind of develop that a little bit if you're playing and you're singing, that you just kind of,
Yeah, I don't know if I could. It would take time, years. I think you just got to get all that down so well. Whatever song you're working on, you develop a song, and I mean that has to be autopilot in order to use your other part of your brain to sing. And because man, that is. I don't know if I could ever do that. Frankly, I guess I stink, but that's
a lot of people can't. Yeah.
Wow.
That's like some left brain, right brain kind of stuff going on. And it would take a lot of practice and just a lot of just natural talent to be able to do that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, some people have that ability to,
and especially on the level of an Eric Clapton or a Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, you're right. It is amazing. Whenever I look at that, I almost get depressed. It's like, I'll never pick up. I don't want to. I may not touch the guitar for a week after I see. It's like, look, but that's wrong. But you just look at that like, oh Lord, I got so far to go. And that's perhaps I should think the other way.
We've got a super chat here from Eobard Thon. Thank you for the $5 super chat, sir. He asks, Eric, do you think there is any way a Silent Night, Deadly Night sequel with both Ricky and Billy could still work.
Yeah, I do. In a sense that, well, and you know this far better than I do, Justin. They're putting together a Silent Night, and and because Robert Wilson was, pivotal in that one, and everybody knows how well he did. I don't, if they don't pull him in on this, it'll be a crime. But I think if someone were writing this new one and wanted to put Robert in, not necessarily me, but I do think that it would be cool if they seamed it in there where there was something substantial for he and I, or him and I, in that. It would be really, really cool. But as just another movie entirely, Robert's he's a talent. So I would love to put him in, if he and I were in a movie separate from that, that'd be great. Maybe we could teach an up and coming Slayer or two,
There you go. But thank you for that, Eobard. Thank you. Appreciate that. Dominic's in the chat. Dominic says you're lying that you would want Cardi B's microphone. Do you know who Cardi B is, Eric?
Just barely. Just barely. But I might catch something off that mic. So
you probably would. Yeah. I wouldn't touch it. Not without rubber gloves. I wouldn't.
No, man. I'd have to put a slip cover over it and spray it with Lysol.
Somebody in the chat earlier mentioned, James G, my buddy James G, asked, have you ever seen To Live and Die in LA? It's got William Dafoe in it. Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah. And that was it. Thank you, because that was the first exposure to Willem Dafoe that William Peterson was a star in that. And I remember it's funny because William Peterson was far more alive and animated in that movie than he was on, that detective. It seemed like he was more quiet and different as time went on, but he was good in that movie. And it was some good car stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong. What's his name? Friedkin.
William Friedkin. Yeah.
Yes, that's why it was good because the car things and the French Connection, and he did the car, and he knew what he was doing. But Willem Dafoe, I mean, please. There was another movie he did called White Sands.
Oh yeah,
did I see White Sands first and then Live and Die in LA? I think it was White Sands, but. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio was in White Sands, and wasn't a great movie. I liked it though. I liked the movie. I liked anything Willem Dafoe. I'll watch anything. The guy's always solid. He always comes in and delivers. He's always believable. He's good. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I think that generally he is believed to be a very good actor, and
no doubt about that. Very, very talented, very versatile. Got that great look. He can do so much with just his face. Like not even say a word. His face is just like, I don't know, putty. It like contorts and just very unique actor and performer.
Yeah, no, he's got that energy, that sparkle. You got it, you don't. Dennis Quaid some people have a lot of energy inside him, and he exudes energy in the quietest of moments. So he's one that has that.
You had a lot of energy in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. That's for sure.
Well,
a lot of energy.
Different. But yeah. I need it. If I had it inside of me, I just let too much of it out.
Well, no. Like I've said many times before, if you hadn't done what you did in that film, nobody'd be talking about that movie today.
Nah, we wouldn't be here today.
Nobody.
Wouldn't have the shirt.
Wouldn't have the shirt. No.
Garbage can, nothing. I mean, zero. So my friends, go out there and do a lousy movie, and you too can get interviewed by the great Justin Powell.
There you go. JS would like to know, music-wise, who are you listening to these days?
God, it's funny. I'm kind of going back to some metal these days. It's funny. I talked about that Toyota RAV I got, and it's got the original cassette player in it. and you're going, wow, really? And I don't think it was ever used, but it's the reason I bring that up is I was rummaging through my crap here in the place, and I found a cassette that cassette tape. Wow. That I must have taped some songs on. It was a potpourri of different songs 30 years ago. And I was like, wow, what? It said something like Jeff Beck on it. And it said Everly Brothers. That's right. Everly Brothers, Jeff Beck. And I thought, what? Well, Everly Brothers. But I popped it into that RAV. And one of the songs in there was a heavy metal song from '89 by a band called XYZ. It was called Inside Out. But there was a lot of metal on that, and Metallica was on that tape. And I started listening. That's the latest. I'm kind of going back. And the reason is you may not like metal, or it's like hard rock, good guitar work, but you got to give it up for how good if you listen to that Inside Out by XYZ, that guitarist in particular is very good. I mean, he's as good as anybody that, he's a Van Halen guitarist in 1989. And I think that was their one and only hit, or maybe they had more. I don't know. But so metal right now, I'm really a rock guy. I like a good beat. And I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter, new or old. If there's a good beat and the lyrics are cool, and it just it moves you, it moves your soul, moves your body. That's great. And so that's it for me. I'm long-winded. Metal today, probably back to hard rock tomorrow. So.
Cool. Alex's Menorah wants to know if you're doing Texas Frightmare this year. Now, you're not doing Texas Frightmare, but you've got two upcoming conventions that we should definitely mention. You've got one coming up this weekend in Seattle. It's Seattle Crypticon. Is that right?
It is coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So Seattle if you're in the Seattle area, go see Eric this weekend at Crypticon. And Eric is going to be in New Jersey at the New Jersey HorrorCon the following week, September 3rd through 5th in Atlantic City. So if you're in the New Jersey, Atlantic City area next weekend, come out and see Eric, say hello, get your Eric paraphernalia. I'll be there too, somewhere wandering around, keeping an eye on Eric, making sure he doesn't get too out of hand. It's going to be a full-time job. So
yeah. Let's hope it's a full-time job. I'm hoping but I won't. I'm hoping it won't be the Maytag man with the COVID and the whatnot.
I don't, I think you're gonna be. I'm not sure about the Seattle show, but everybody tells me the New Jersey show is still gonna be pretty lively. So
good. And I like that part of the world anyhow. That's fine by me. Never been to Seattle, but I won't be able to see the city because I'll be, maybe I will. It'll be dark. Maybe I can see it on Sunday or something, or maybe Friday. I don't know. But that's always the negative is you go to these cool places and I can't break away to see the sights. But maybe I should one of those nights just go out and get trashed and have fun.
One night in Jersey, we'll have to go out and check out the boardwalk. I've been warned by Jerseyans, don't eat anything on the boardwalk. If you're gonna eat, go off the boardwalk. Don't eat on the boardwalk. So we'll have to go off. We can check the boardwalk out, but if we're gonna eat, we got to go off the boardwalk.
Yeah,
several people have said that to me, so it must be true.
Yeah, probably something to do with hot dogs.
I would imagine. I have no idea, but but yeah. So yeah, this weekend, Seattle Crypticon in Seattle. If you're in that area, go out, see Eric, say hello, get a photo, get something autographed. If you're going to be in the New Jersey, Atlantic City area the following weekend, September 3rd through 5th, come out and see Eric at New Jersey HorrorCon.
Thank you.
Let's see here.
Nice.
We had some questions here. I'll get to these questions momentarily. I do want to say, though, if you're going to a convention, a couple of years ago, I did a convention survival guide video. I think I need to update that convention survival guide video for more today's standards. And number one would be boost your immune system. Lots of vitamin C, lots of vitamin D, zinc, selenium, olive leaf extract. Get lots of it, get it inside you, and get your immune system to tip-top shape before you go to a convention. So that would be number one on my list now for the convention survival guide.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree. These are things that would help, especially with the D. It takes a while to bring your levels up. So it's nice to do all the every day. But I agree that that would be your best defense. People don't talk about that. It's funny. We spend all this time, or I should say, the powers that be spend all this time, 90%, 99% telling you it's the mask, it's the mask, it's the mask, but it isn't, because these things are 10% effective. I mean, if there were a virus, it's aerosolized, it's in the air. So why don't they say these are the things that could benefit you as an individual? If you take these nutrients, you can have a really strong, it's kind of like if I were to, Star Trek's a good analogy. It's like, are your shields up? Are your shields not up? And
there you go.
Get your shields up. So
get your shields up. There you go.
Other than that, the other part of your survival guide is spot on, so that would be something, a little addendum, and she's good for 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go. Let's see. Kay would like to know, Eric, what inspired you to get into acting?
It's actually easy, but then when I was 7, just before the whole family like busted apart, I would think I was 7 at the dinner table. We had one of those. We actually had dinner together at one point. I was 7, but I remember I said I wanted to be an actor. Everybody laughed. and then I don't think I ever entertained that again, but that was what I said it. And then, but when I moved out to Los Angeles, and prior to that, I was back in the Midwest. I was a pothead, admittedly, smoked a lot of pot and ate a lot of pizzas and orange juice. And, but I had dabbled into bodybuilding in that prior world, a little here, a little there. When I was 14, a little bit, saw some things I liked doing that. But when I came out to Los Angeles, I started running at the beach on the sand right by the shore. And then they opened a gym just about the same time, Nautilus by the sea thing, and Manhattan Beach. And I started there. And then I picked up this thing called Dramalog, and I may have mentioned this before in other settings, but it was a little kind of 10 or 20 page little paper. It's a little like a newspaper that Dramalog was all about what was out there for non-union actors and casting and headshots where you could get those and everything to do with the actor that wasn't in the union, just non-union actor newspaper. I saw that, looked around in it, and I thought, well, I should do this. I should do this. But I started doing a lot of extra work, and that's not really how you do it. But you know what? Before I knew it, I was on the sets of some very big television shows as an extra. And so in a way, it was a nice to get your feet wet and find out what's going on here. How does this work? What, you know, with the camera shoots and then soap operas were different with the 3-camera live situation and more like a theater, you know, everything's live and they just go between 3 cameras real quick with their fast cuts. But I learned that end of it very quickly. So that's how that started. Not to be long-winded, other than to say I kind of came in on a back end making $35 a day. And then some of the better extra work I could make up to $100 a day. Yeah, the soap operas. And along the way I met a lot of cool people, a lot of big names today, and it was nice to watch them. I think that's important to, because I went to acting classes and such, but you know, that's very that's very isolated. It's you know, it's, oh, learn this for next week or something, and hopefully you're in an acting class where you can do a scene, you know, where it's taped and you kind of get started and get the feel of how that works. And so do a scene or a good scene from a soap opera or a television show with a partner, and it's taped and you can see how you look and what you should and shouldn't do and filter it out for yourself. But in going to these sets of 20th century or man, you name it, even little studios like Raleigh Studios, that was or it could have been Laird Studios, that is now Amazon, all these little Culver City studios and so on, and some of the big ones. When you're watching, you know, television shows we all liked back then, Cagney, Lacey, and Moonlighting and whatever, and you were on that set watching them. I mean, what better training can you get than to watch Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd go at it, so to speak? And so it and they went at it. but so yeah, I know it's a long-winded explanation, probably didn't help, but that's how I got into it on that end. And then some girl I met, I was dating, she wanted to get me into the high-end extra work. And they interviewed me. It was like for Dallas and Dynasty, but you had to have this extensive wardrobe of your own. You had to have really nice clothing, Armani's and your suits. And I just barely had, you know, I was a poor actor, but they said, well, if you can get some better clothes, you know, it was really, you know, it was a good money, real good. But she had all these nice clothes and she was perfect for these things, but I knew it was dead end. I knew I didn't want to keep doing this in the regard of I wanted more. So when SNDN came up, I just cautioned to the wind and asked who's got the lead. So, cause I did a lot of this and a lot of that, and people reminding me of that, oh, you were in this little movie here, you didn't have any dialogue, or you weren't. I said, that's right, I was holding a shotgun all day killing people, and that was way before SNDN, and I didn't realize that I did all these little things that people have seen later in life. But I just wanted more than the crap I was going out for. And the hard part, of course, would be getting an agent. And boy, that was hard. And back in the day when you couldn't buy your way in. But I'm going down the rabbit trail, other than to say thank you for asking. It started when I was a kid. I came out to LA. I started feeling better about myself. I got in shape and said, hey, I can do this. And so the rest of it's history.
One movie I do want to ask you about that a lot of people may not even know that you're in is Murder Weapon, but I'll get to that momentarily. James G says, go off the boardwalk, do not pass go, do not collect $200. So he's another one. Stay off the boardwalk. If you're going to eat, don't go to the boardwalk. So
yeah, I've heard to where put your wallet in your front pocket, you know that kind of.
Probably that too. Not just not just bad places to eat, but keep an eye on your wallet.
Right.
Joe Cool would like to know if you could own any authentic movie prop from any movie, what would it be?
Now there's one I'd have to think on, but it's an excellent question. Top flight question. I'd have to think on that one a little bit, but yeah, it may not be something that somebody would even like. Why would you want to? Well, whatever. Why would you want that finger from the so-and-so movie? Whatever. I don't know. It's I'd have to think on that one, and it'll come to me during this conversation. But I don't know. I have no clue. I'm because I have a kind of my brain will go back to movies also that I like that are black and white, and James Mason or a ton of Alex Guinness, or this or that. I mean, there are some cool movies I used to watch, old from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and where the plots were great and the acting was great and everything was great, and it wasn't action or anything. So I'd have to think on that. I'm sorry that I don't know.
That's okay. No big deal. No big deal. Kay says, "You're part of my Christmas tradition, Eric." That's cool. As you are with a lot of people. So
yeah, it's right before she vomits from too much eggnog watching my movie.
Well, here's Mr. Boone had something very nice to say. Eric, man, you shrug off your acting a lot, but you were genuinely a lot of fun to watch on screen. I actually liked you more than the first film's lead. You seemed more fun, like Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead 2. That's quite a compliment.
Yeah, I would think a lot of him. I remember seeing Bruce Campbell in some early stuff, and he was a ball of fire in those movies, and fun, and like a swashbuckler in a way. Reminded me of some of those older films where they would sword fighting and stuff. He just had a lot of talent, a lot of energy, and he deserves to be the star he is, because he's got it. Another one that's just. So thanks for that. That's very kind. Don't deserve it, but I'll take it.
When my buddy Nico says, Eric, loved your movie reviews of Under the Radar movies from the past on this channel. Can you tell us a couple more titles of 60s or 70s movies you think are classics but aren't talked about enough?
Yes, I can. But on that off chance that we will resurrect that between you and I want to save some of these for those times. But there is one that I may have mentioned that I really like by an actor named Terrence Stamp. And you know Terrence Stamp, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. And I think it was called The Limey. And it was very good. It was a very good movie.
Very good, yeah.
And I don't know if we ever reviewed that. We didn't, but I think that's one to look at. But there are others pre 60s, 70s. Sure, that was more, I think, 80s, perhaps even in the 90s. That one, The Limey. But because Terrence Stamp's so good, I thought I'd throw that out. Yeah, there's a few that I like a lot. But I have to have it, and there has to be enough action, there has to be enough for me to want to do it with you. You have to be interested. I have to be interested in
The Limey would be a good one, because it's been a long time since I've seen The Limey, but I remember liking it a lot. So that might be, we may need to dust off that series with The Limey. I think that'd be a good one. Yeah,
there's a lot there. And it wasn't an expensive movie to do, but it was just good. It was just, it's nice to see a movie like that. He's just unrelenting. He's going to find out who killed his daughter, no matter what. So I like those kinds of things where the guy's driven and he's driven.
There's another really good revenge movie you should look up, Eric, called The Horseman.
Yeah.
I forget what year it came out, but it's a revenge movie, kind of similar, but a little darker, a little harder edged, I guess, maybe.
I love it. I love it already, and I've heard of it, but that's it. Thank you.
Yeah. definitely check that out. Gabe K. Okla, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. He says, not a question, but can I get a shout out from Eric? It'll make my day.
Gabe gets a shout out. Garbage day, Gabe.
There you go, Gabe. Thanks,
silly.
man.
I never do that. But he paid the big bucks. He should get a little Caldwell on the side.
There you go. Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate that, man. And you got a garbage day out of it, dude. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
My God. What am I, crazy? I'm giving it away.
So yeah, let me ask you about Murder Weapon, because this is interesting movie. David Dakota film.
Yeah.
Starring the lovely Linnea Quigley. And this is one that you probably don't get asked about very often. But yeah. How did you get involved in Murder Weapon?
Wow. Now, was that you'd have to tell me, was that the first David Dakota movie I did for him?
That's a good question. Let me look that up.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I think I only did 2 or maybe 3 for him. 3. One of them he was directing, but he wasn't producing. Let's say it's Murder Weapon.
let's just say it's Murder Weapon. 1989, Murder Weapon.
Yeah, it would have to be. Excuse me. I got a call by David's, I guess, secretary. Oh no! It was the casting. David was pretty popular then, and he had a casting lady call me, and she basically offered me a job. And we went back and forth. And I know this is an old story for us, I think, and perhaps others, and I apologize, but I wanted to audition for it. She said, "It's no, you don't need to. He wants you." And it was because of Kenny McCabe. Kenny McCabe was it? No. I'm sorry. It was a gentleman in the alley, and his name escapes me now. He knew David Dakota really well. He was the guy that got beat up in the alley in SNDN 2. And he went on to do a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff. His name he'll come to me, and already some people know it out there, but he got beaten up in the alley by the loan shark, and he knew David really well. And David had seen my movie in the theater up at I call it Grauman's Chinese Theater up there, and David saw it up at Grauman's, called it's in and out of my head, called this actor, and he called, and then he said, well, that's Eric Freeman. That's who you want. And then David's casting director called me and said, well, you got a job. But she sounded like, wow, it didn't go through me. And casting directors don't like that. So, and I knew that. And I was smart enough to know that I didn't want to taint that. So I said, let me come in and audition. So, but she said no. And I said, yes. She said no. And I said, well, hell, you're in the business of the casting directing, and I'm not going to get out of the business anytime soon. So how do we figure this out? Because I want to audition for you. If I'm no good, I'm no good. I don't want the job. And she said, no, this is a done deal. And she felt better about it at the end, and so did I. I came down off my high horse, and she said, oh, well, he's a decent enough guy to acknowledge that I'm somebody, and that he's going around me, kind of thing. So, right. All silly trivia, but important in the sense that's where my head was at. So yeah, that's how I got that thing. David, I had no idea how David worked. But luckily I had Lee Harry from SNDN as a kind of a role model of, you have no director.
Well, and David Dakota, for everybody who doesn't know who David Dakota is, David Dakota is probably shooting 3 movies right now. The guy makes movies at a prolific rate, and in every genre. So I mean, he's kind of like the go-to guy. Like if somebody needs a movie done on a low budget in a short amount of time, Dakota can do it.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. He can, that's his thing. He is known to get it done and get it in the can quickly. He's not one to look at dialogue or look at a scene and say, I'm going to break this down and make it better, rewrite it. No. He's going to shoot it as is or almost as is. And so it was an experience to be on that movie. And I just said, well, what are we doing? And he says, well, he liked to shoot a lot of it. And as you know, Justin, many of you know, he'll shoot a whole movie in a house. We won't really move from the house. So, but he just said, I said, just give me a heads up what we're doing here, because I, want to be prepared. And he said, get familiar with pages 42 through 48, 63 through 72, 80 through 88, and that kind of thing. So get ready. And I said, are we going in sequence here? He goes, no, just get familiar with all of it. so no, I'm serious. And so you have to know, I said, well, I need more, David. And he goes, okay, well, the setup at the pool, it's going to be about an hour. So there was something with Linnea and I in the pool, or I'm dangling my feet in the pool, or we're talking about stuff. I'm kind of finding out about her, and I have all these questions. I ask all these questions. She kind of gives clipped little answers, but she was a producer on that movie, and she was big stuff then. And so her and David and Linnea were together on this one. And so I was just the hired gun along with a few others. And I did my parts. And that's how that.
How many takes did you get on those? Was it one and done, or did he do pretty much one and done?
Yeah. As you've heard, as you know, as I found out, there was a scene in there. You remind me, that was kind of funny because I was having some dialogue with another actor there. I think there was quite a few actors in there, but in particular, there was some dialogue between me and another actor. And he went up on his lines, meaning he forgot what he was to say. And I covered for him. I remembered that I said his line back to him. I said, so you think that I'm trying to rip you off? It was something like that. So I turned it around, because he should have said, hey, you're ripping me off. But I said, so you think I'm ripping you off? And to keep it going so he could get his next line, but it didn't happen. So I kept doing that kind of thing for him, ad-libbing, and until he cut. And then I said, well, David, he went up on his lines. Can we do? He goes, no, it's fine. We'll cut to something else. And all day I'm going, what's he going to cut to? There's nothing to cut to. And so, but that was David. He would probably cut to some, whatever. He would cut to the moon and stars and then come back. So, but it was a funny little bit of business I did to get by. Knowing, and I knew that we would have to reshoot it, but we didn't. And so that's funny. But you remind me of
how was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you remind me of something I may get to later. But thanks for bringing that up. Little things happen like that where you have to cover for people when if they don't remember a line or two, and you wing it, or you do whatever you do because you don't want dead air. And so there's been many times that I did other things like that where the actor long left a name actor would leave the studio at the end of the day, and I'm talking to a C-stand or like a piece of metal, like a hat rack, and then the person that the continuity lady who has the script that's following for continuity, making sure that everything's on track. She's feeding me the line, instead of the actor, I get fed the line by a continuity lady or something, talking to a C-stand just off camera. So these are the things that will never teach you in acting class, is that you may not be opposite of an actor at all. You may be looking at, you know, some guy's hairy ass and you're delivering a line. So you just don't know what you're going to get into, and you can never learn that in any acting school. That's just ad lib, and be aware that it's not going to go. If you're a nobody actor, or if you're a 5 lines or less, or if you're on for In Living Color as a small role at the end of the night and it's 12 midnight, don't expect anybody, the talent, to be there. You will probably be talking to, you know, a grip or something. So that was the case of the Dakota. It's what could possibly happen here. Cover your butt.
Yeah.
So.
What was Linnea Quigley like to work with?
It's very nice. She was all business then, of course, because a lot was riding on it for her. So she wasn't very personable. And she shouldn't have been, you know. She's very petite, and of course she had the attributes of Linnea Quigley. So, but yeah, that all worked out. She was very nice, and it was all, you know. It seemed like, I don't know, was it a whole day or 2 days? It was something to do this. She was as decent as she could be, considering she's producing and so on, and leaving it up to David to get the shots. And so I completely got what she was up for, and why she didn't, you know, she was really cut and dry. She knew her dialogue right up and down completely. I didn't struggle with mine or anything, but she made it easy. She had her stuff down. So she was a pro even back then. And so that was all good. You know, that's nice. And I hope I didn't hold her up at all, but that's what you hope for. It's that it works well and the director's happy. And so, no, she was a pro, of course. And nothing to say there other than it was just a small shoot in a weird, kind of odd movie.
Very, very, very odd movie. Like the first 15 minutes of the movie is pretty much just a woman sitting by the pool lounging. And that's the entire like first 15 minutes of the movie. It's definitely strange.
Yeah, I must say that it's close to the beginning of the movie, but it seemed like it went on like an interminable with Lyle Wagner. Now, I remember Lyle Wagner got some big money, and I may be wrong, but I think Lyle Wagner got a couple $100,000 to be in this movie, where Lyle Wagner is talking to the co-lead, Linnea's friend, a strawberry blonde lady, pretty. She was like getting her head shrunk by Lyle Wagner, the psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. But there's all this smoke in there. There's tons of this smoke and haze, and it's supposed to almost be like a dream sequence, but it's interminable. It's like something you could have clarified and done. A 30-second piece went on for like 30 minutes. It was half the movie of Lyle Wagner, tons of smoke, and the lady. And I thought, this is horrid. This is horrid. This is double horrid. This beyond
But you do have an exceptionally good line of dialogue in the film that you improvised, right? You on the spot, right?
Yeah, and I've got a story for that later in life that's funny that it should hook into that, because I was just thinking when I was jabbering away a minute ago about how this crap comes back to haunt you. Now see, Linnea and I are poolside, and then we're at a party, I guess. Linnea's having a party at this house in the movie, and she's got her girlfriend there, and all these guys are invited, and some rock star guy shows up, and he's with the band, the Chainsaws or something, and whatever. So we're having a party, and somebody has to go get beer. But I'm some manager that works at like the Sears and Roebuck in the appliance department or something. I don't know. And so anyhow, I'm going to go get beer with Linnea in her red convertible. But we go into the garage, and the scene is such that it's written that Lene and I are making out in the car. Oh, Lord. Lene and I are making out in the car, and I get really aroused apparently, and I'm feeling her everything, and I ejaculate in my pants. So, right? Wow. So I say to David, no way. And so he said, well, I said, David, come on, I'm trying to build a career. Come on. So I'm on my hands and knees, and no, and he says, well, Eric, what do you suggest? And he's just very, wow, is he just calm and subdued? And he's too busy for me. And what do you suggest? And I said, and at the top of my head, I said, well, why don't I say, da 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 da. And he kind of smirks and this walks away, turns on his heel and walks away because he's got to get to shooting again. He's 5 minutes behind, and that's 5 scenes he's missed. So so here comes this scene. We got to come through the side garage door, and the car's in the garage, and we get in position in the car, and I'm feeling her up, and we're fake kissing, and she's actually slathering her face all over mine, but not my lips. And so we're fake kissing, and I'm fake feeling, and all this. And then, so I, cause I thought, oh Christ, I got to do this line, oops, whatever. And this is just so funny. So I go, I got to deliver this line. And then David says, okay, give me the line. And I'm thinking, what line? But my brain I may be thinking of it very slowly, but in my brain, it was like a computer. I go, oh, that line, the line I came up with line. And so I blurted out the line. It was something like, honey, I don't want to make love to you in your car. I respect you too much. Just give me a blowjob instead. And right. And it was just, I just winged it. And it was completely, if you watch the movie, you'd go, oh Lord, kind of Caldwell-esque. But it was a shock to me that I could say it. I did. It came off. We didn't do a second take. But I didn't have to, change my shorts. So a good day. and that's history. So that stayed in. The line stayed in. Linnea was not happy about that line at all, because it was completely news to her. It wasn't like she was apprised, though Eric's going to change the line or anything. I just did. But she kind of scowled and, looked at David. I knew it wasn't going over well, but, better for me. so in this case, I won, thank God. But how silly. I don't think anyone's watching anymore, and they should.
Great. That's a great lot of dialogue, though.
But it's funny because years later, not that many years later, I was unhappy with my agent. I was up in North Hollywood at the Gold's Gym, and a mainstay at the gym was a well-known actor named Bill McKinney. And Bill, and many people know him. He did many things with Clint Eastwood, many solid pieces of work with Clint Eastwood. He's a movie star. And Bill was always up at North Hollywood Gold's, and he stayed in shape, and a friend of mine, good friend. And the point is, I'm up there with him, and remember Bill McKinney, he's the guy in Deliverance that was cornholing Ned Beatty on the bank.
Okay.
What was his famous line?
Squeal like a pig.
Yeah, right. Yeah, scream like a pig, boy. And so that was his thing in the gym. He would occasionally do that when people were like, Bill. He said, yeah, whatever. He did say the line. And anyhow, so Bill is a big time actor, and he was with a really good agency. He wasn't with a top tier agency. And I asked him prior in meetings, well, why aren't you with William Morris, ICM, all the biggies? And he goes, I was there once, but I like where I'm at. I'm top dog. So he was like middle of the road, maybe 2/3 the way up the ladder agency, and happy to be there. And so I had asked him, Bill, would they need anybody like me? And he says, well, there's a lot of you, Eric, but he said, I can put in a word for you. And I said, you can? Will you, whoa. And he said, yeah, you got any tape? And I said, yeah, I have tape. And I did. I had really good reel. And unfortunately, I gave Bill the wrong tape. Guess what tape I gave him? Yes. He comes back a week later, gives me the tape and says, what the fuck was that? And I said, yeah, it even gets worse because I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? And he describes it to me. I said, and my heart sank. I knew what I did. And I said, oh, Bill, I said, you don't understand. That's a blooper tape. That was a reel of stuff. This director, it was a David Dakota blooper reel. And the point is he's telling me about it. He goes, yeah. And my agent and I sat down and watched this. And I was like, oh, no. I was just devastated. And because he's a friend of mine and I respected him. He's done real work. And here I am giving him this soft porn stuff. So it all went in the shitter. I couldn't get the agent course. So, I mean, and here I am today. So damn, but it wasn't funny. You would have to be there. And I'm very animated about it because it's just, I've never talked about it, but wow, what a fuck up.
But they had to go, when you said the line, they had to look at each other and go, that was a good line. They had to, it's like a softcore porn, but that was a good line.
Yeah. So, I remember Bill's like, he goes, it's funny. He mentioned that he was happy at his age. He goes, I was with my agent. I watched this and he goes, I used to be top dog there. And I was like, oh no. So, but we patched it up. I said, I made a major mistake, Bill. I gave you the wrong tape. And I said, it's too late now. I'm tainted. But, and he goes, and see, Bill was kind of known as he was a joker, a kind of a prankster. And I think he passed it off to the agent as like pulling his leg, so I think it worked for him but because he was known for, cornholing that baby on the bank and, sing like a pig boy, or squeal like a pig boy. And so, it worked for him because I think I was like, get out of here, Bill. I could see the agent, get out of here, and so I might have been saved by the sheer fact that Bill was considered a kind of a comedian, but I'm not sure. I'm just speculating, but he had a way of being very, it's nothing, he was Teflon, nothing would stick. So
yeah.
But I only brought that up because it dovetails into that Linnea scene. It came back to, I got the job because of SNDN, and then I didn't get the job. I didn't get the agent because of that. So it kind of washes out. So
yeah.
Anyhow, silly, sorry.
James Michael says, Eric, I appreciate how good you are to the fans. Much appreciated.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm a regular person, so I don't stand on anything. I'm not, I don't, I am who I am. I clean my own toilet. So
James G would also, he says, could you share a divorce court story?
Yeah. Good show. I like that. That's a good story. I won't bore you. I'll try to be entertaining. I got called in on that divorce court as a backup. The person that was up for that got hurt in an automobile accident, and I got called the day before and saying, get your butt up to Radford Studios, CBS Radford Studios up in the valley, up in Studio City, and get the sides, get the dialogue, get your character's piece. My agent called me and said, Eric, they want you for this. They're not bickering, nothing. Guy got hurt. You're the fill-in. They had your 8x10. You were the second choice or something. I don't know. So got the dialogue, came home. It had to be close to 4 p.m. at that point. And the call time was 7 a.m. in Valencia, very early, pretty far away. up, go north. So I got some coffee and poured over the dialogue, chaining myself kind of to the coffee table to get it, get it down, and or try to get it down. And I did have it down. But the next morning, see, I was supposed to come up there. I was supposedly at some handsome young millionaire with a wife that I don't know if does she love me for my money or me or whatever? So that's the premise of the show. But I was supposed to be disfigured with some scars on my face, like bad scars all over. But they tried to do the scar thing with scar. It's almost like clear silicone they're putting on my face, but it wasn't reading well. And the director came in and said, that doesn't look right. That's fake. Just cover his face with, put a bandage on his face. And now all of a sudden half my head's covered in a bandage. So I'm blind. And I got to say, it's very disorienting to be blind. And so I'm kind of bumbling and stumbling around and had all this dialogue. And I was disoriented, I would say. And then I had to be up on the dais, up in the jury box, being grilled. And then the other part of it was there was an in-house attorney guy that was a constant regular as the attorney, asking me questions, did you, Mr. Bryce, ask your wife to lick your scars during sex and all this? And I said, yeah, it's her idea, whatever. But the point is, the dialogue was pretty racy back then. I mean, certainly you could get away with it with the standards and practices, but the dialogue was really racy. I loved it, actually. But the lawyer that was grilling me didn't want to say it. So, and I kind of, as an actor, you depend on what they're saying in order to pick up your lines. What do I say next? There's buzzwords in what he says in order for me to start what I say. So knowing your dialogue is knowing his dialogue. And now he's changing his dialogue because he thinks it's too racy. And, he's complaining to the guy up in the booth about it being so randy and racy and blue or whatever. And I'm like, so they quickly powwowed and they changed the dialogue and this and that. And that threw me off a bit. But the bottom line is, I'm just saying, with all the adversity of having my head bandaged instead of scars, changing the dialogue on me last minute. And I'm not complaining. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying there was a lot of things behind the scenes that were working against me. I still did it. I still felt I was believable in it. And my wife was the gold digger. So it all worked out.
And yeah, that's right. You won the case.
I won the case. It's funny. I was up there at the same day of the guy in Seinfeld. It was Mr. Peterman. Mr. Peterman. There was a bunch of actors they shot divorce court like 3 shows every day for I don't know, like a few days in a row, and then they were good for the week. So, but we were the 3rd show in line of the 3 shows, but one of them was that Jay Peterman from Seinfeld, is the handsome guy, was the lead in some show, and then another guy that was constantly an actor I'd go out with, and calls. He was taller, bigger. He did a ton of infomercials later in his life. That he was second in line. It's when I first met him, but it's funny. It's like it was old home week with him, but it was Jay Peterman, the friend of mine, and then me. We all had the leads in these shows, and I did what I did the best I could under the circumstances. But I like that because it for me, it was like, wow, how much more adversity can anyone handle? And I still pulled it off. So I felt that for me, that particular piece of work was good for me. And I felt like, man, I can do this. I mean, nobody's going to be throwing this and this and this and changing my dialogue on me, you fuck, at the last minute, So I felt I felt good leaving there. Like, man, I did it. So I was very happy with how it all worked out anyhow. And that meant something to me, and other things that had happened along the way that I felt like I had a chance, so.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
I'm sorry, it was long. I was fucking long-winded. Damn. Just
No,
tell me.
Lots
Shut up.
Lots of detail. Nothing wrong
No, but
with
it's
that.
good. You know, people know. Then they can relate it to something like, wow, that Eric sure is a big mouth.
And let me remind everybody, if you want to see Eric and his big mouth, he's going to be at Seattle Crypticon this weekend. If you're in the Seattle area, go check out Eric, say hello, get something signed, take a picture. If you're in the New Jersey, Atlantic City area, Eric is going to be at the New Jersey Horror Con September 3rd through 5th. So if you're in that area, come out, say hello to Eric, say hello to Eric. I'm going to be at that convention somewhere wandering around. So I'll be there too. Doing something.
Me and my big mouth. I want to cut in and say that Justin is a rock star all on his own up there. At any convention there, people are asking him to sign stuff. He knows everybody. When he stops by a booth, they know him. I mean, I've seen. So it's not like Piz is watching me, and I've seen. I know. I think he's got a following like you wouldn't believe in these conventions. So, you do well, my friend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, we've been going for an hour and a half. It's been quite a nice little catch up. Time is absolutely flown here. Anything?
No, I've been talking.
That's the whole point. I brought you on to talk. I mean, come on.
Sorry, Piz, man.
That's the whole point. We caught up.
Right.
We played some catch up. Talked about the convention appearances. Talked about this and that and the other. Hope you guys out there all enjoyed the stream. Let me do some shout outs here really quick. I can hear Piz cry. Ladies, please, there's only one of me. Yeah, there you go. Mr. Boone says, Eric, you're a joy. Makes me wish you had a regular podcast. Wow.
What would I talk about? I wouldn't have anything to say.
Just the ins and outs.
I don't know if I'm smart enough, really. I wish I were like smart. I would talk about anything. All right, damn it, Eric's Guitar Podcast.
Well, you helped a lot of people with the one video that you did talking about, what was it? Was it the refrigerator motor?
Yeah. Washer motor.
You did a video showing people how to fix a Kenmore washer motor, and it's got a ton of views, and people are messaging you all the time going, well, thanks, man, I never knew how to do this. So I've said, Eric, you need to do more of these things. You're helping people out there. So
how silly. But it's just silly stuff. It's just, you know how it is. You figure out the Rubik's Cube on something. It's like, well, there's no video out there to tell people. All right, put it on the bench. Let's do a video. So thanks for that.
CJ's Stop Motion Movies says, I love you. Simple, to the point.
Yeah. Stop motion Caldwell.
JS says, that's a man's kitchen. All business.
Well, I had to clear it out. I mean, normally it's really a lot of business. But I did the tile. So, my place is so small that this is my office. So, sorry.
James G says, great stream, gentlemen. Eric is the man.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of love.
James G. That could be my James G. That's bought about 1 billion pieces of paraphernalia. So if that's you, James G, I actually owe you one at this point.
this may be the same James G. Are you the same?
Very well be. He's a go-getter. He's got it all. If I scribbled on a sock, he'd buy it. So
well, and let me remind everyone, the Eric Freeman. It's the pinned comment in the chat. That's Eric's website. Go over, check him out. He's actually there's some posts there about somebody mentioned podcasts. Eric's podcast appearances are posted there, so you can go check those out. And of course, you can get all your Eric Freeman merch. It's the same James G.
It is the same James G.
It is the same James G.
Well, now he's a star. No, James, cool. He sent me a picture, a collage of everything he's purchased. It's like my wall of shame or something. And it is. He's got it all. And that's nice. And that's nice because, I could keel over and he'd have it all. So
he's got it all. Hey, cool. Rizami says, can't wait to see Eric in New Jersey.
I'll remember. Riz is unique. I'll remember Riz.
There you go.
So when Riz shows up, Riz, I'll say, Riz, I know you.
Very cool. Let me give a couple of shout outs here and then we'll call it a night. Shout out to Eobard Thon for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. And shout out to my buddy Gabe K. Okla for the that was a $4.99 super chat, I do believe. Yes, it was.
Yes.
So thank you for that, Gabe K. Okla. Again, THEE, ericfreeman.com. Go check out his website. Seattle Crypticon this weekend, New Jersey HorrorCon next weekend. That's where Eric's going to be. And yeah, so there you go. Jess Graham, hello. You showed up right at the very end.
Hey, he's a regular. So hi, Jess. How you doing?
Jess is a regular. Jess is a regular. All right, so everybody, have a great night. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for some awesome questions. Eric, of course, thank you for your time.
No, you let me blabber. I blabbered a little too long, but we will have nothing to talk about in November, will we?
There'll be things to talk about for sure.
Oh, there's probably something stupid I had done between now and then. So yeah.
But anyway, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you again in the very near future. Let me announce who the next guest is on my next Bloodstream. Did I upload that video? Tell me I uploaded that video. I did. So here is the guest for my next Bloodstream, which will be in September. Here he is.
Cool.
That's right. Jamie Blanks will be the guest on September's Bloodstream. We'll be talking about everything that he's done up to this point and some things that he's got planned for the future. So it'll be a really fun. He's been on several streams with me, but this will be the first time that I'm doing a one-on-one with Jamie. So keep your eyes open and your ears open for the date and the time. It will be in September. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. All right. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Eric, thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. And we'll see you guys in the very near future. Until then, take care and peace.
Thanks.